Good evening. Thank you all for being here tonight. Laguna Madre Water District notice of a regular meeting Board of Directors. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the district to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 26th day of February 2014 at the hour of 6 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on February 20th, 2014 at 4:10 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041-551-050, and a copy furnished to the county clerk at Cameron County, Texas. We do have the presence of a quorum. Absent at this time, we have Rudy Garcia. If we can please have everyone stand for item 2, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, invitation to the audience for discussion. At this time, do we have anyone like to discuss anything? Staff, citizens, anyone in the audience, board, like to discuss anything? Okay. When and if Mr. Garcia shows up, we've been asked to move the executive item up on the agenda, so we'll kind of place it in when Mr. Garcia shows up, if that's okay. If anyone has any objections to that, as soon as he gets here, we'll like to move that up. At this time, though, we'd like to consider moving on with our general business for item 5, discussion regarding bids received on the following property struck off to Cameron County Clerk for itself and other taxing jurisdictions from a tax resale conducted on November 5th, 2013. Legal description, Lot 9, Block 40, Padre Beach, Section 4, a subdivision in Cameron County, Texas, according to the map or plat thereof recorded in Volume 14, page 52, map records of Cameron County, Texas, 67-6400-0400-009-00.
Mr. Chairman, we missed a minute.
Were you going, did you mention that you were going to go back to that one when Mr.
Garcia gets here? Yes, we'll take care of that right now.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
You're
Good evening. For the record, we have Mr. Garcia joining the meeting.
Buddy.
Are you watching me?
Mr. Garcia, at this time, we're on item 4. Consider and approve the minutes for the regular meeting of February 12th, 2014. There has been a corrected typo, as everyone has a updated version of the notice posted.
Move to approve minutes.
Been a motion made by Mr. Keplinger for approval.
Second.
There's a second made by Mr. Vella. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
There are, none opposed?
Abstain.
For the record, Mr. Thomas abstains.
Wasn't here.
Okay, this time we're moving on to item 5, discussion regarding bids received on the following property struck off to Cameron County for itself and other taxing jurisdictions from a tax resale conducted on November 5th, 2013. Legal description, Lot 9, Block 40, Padre Beach, Section 4, a subdivision in Cameron County, Texas, according to the map or plat thereof recorded in Volume 14, page 52, map records of Cameron County, Texas, 67-6400-04000-0090-00.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, this is Monica Solis representing the firm that's in charge of the transaction here, and she's willing to explain the resale of that property.
Good afternoon. Good evening already, right?
Yes.
And essentially what this is it was one piece of property that was offered up for sale at the original tax sale. The opening bid amount was $64,000, which was the judgment amount to all of the entities who have an interest in the property. At the original sale, the opening bid amount wasn't received, so the property was then what we call struck off to the taxing jurisdictions who all have an interest in the property. Now, in order to help our clients get these properties put back onto the tax roll, we hold what we call a tax resale about once a year, and offer competitive bidding so that we can try to get the most amounts that we can. Sometimes, like in this situation, we end up getting a little bit more than what the original amount was. So as you can tell by the analysis that we've offered, the taxing jurisdiction, Laguna Madre Water District should have received about $4,600, and they should be receiving $5,800. So our recommendation at this time is to approve that offer.
And, this one's only a discussion part. There's another agenda on it for the approval. If y'all have any questions for her?
This was just one, it was one lot, was it? I tried to look it up, it was just one interior lot, like on Gulf
Just one.
Boulevard? Was it?
Right,
was it-
there's no homes on
No,
it,
it's not on
just the
Gulf,
property
it's on,
itself, just one lot.
It's here someplace.
Block 40 is down by
Vacant
like
lot.
CVS.
Yeah,
isn't
lot
it?
9 only,
Huh?
lot 9 of block 40. One.
Nine.
And, there were some pictures in there.
High Street, yeah, it's down by,
Yeah, it's on Pike,
there it is.
in the middle of the block.
And it's normal procedure to run these, on a resale that, Laguna Madre and all the entities that are receiving the taxes approve the resolution to it. And on the next agenda item, it's a resolution of, approval. So we can get the funds back as soon as.
staff's recommendation?
Staff recommends it that the district, approves it and signs a resolution so that we can receive our taxes right after that.
Put it back in the.
Put it back in the taxes, right?
That's fine.
So we're moving on to any other questions, comments, suggestions, concerns? Moving on to item 6, discussion and possible action on the resolution approving the bids received on the tax sale conducted on November 5th, 2013 for the above mentioned properties.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Keplinger, second by Mr. Vella. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None opposed. Thank you.
Thank you then. Well, I believe you all have the resolution already.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and then you can just contact
Did
us.
you bring the money? Bring the money. You want the money?
We've actually, I think we are lacking approval from South Padre Island. I think we're already scheduled to go with them next week, but I'm sure considering the amount that was said, all taxing entities are gonna be receiving the amount that they should have received, so.
You got a good deal on a nice lot.
Yeah. It happens sometimes.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening.
Moving to item 7, discussion and approve rescheduling or cancellation of the next regular board meeting, Board of Directors for March 12th, 2014.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, on the next, the board is going out on the trip to the cities. So I want to mention that we need to reschedule or cancel whatever the board.
I would recommend moving it to the 5th. Oh, I won't be here the 5th. Either consolidating and making it on the 26th, or holding, moving everything and all business agenda items to the 26th, or having a special meeting in
Why don't we
between.
just lump it all together on the 19th?
Well,
The next scheduled
we
meeting
won't
is
be
the
here
26th.
to provide information for the board.
Meetings are 2nd and
For
4th.
the 26th.
So I would recommend that we consolidate and go on the 26th. Maybe to staff here, we discussed it, and that's the best one to just.
The only item on the agenda are bills, but most of them we approve on the 4th anyway, so.
The reason being was that here's where we're at now, and, we're gonna have a board meeting, we should,
If you have a pressing issue or you need something, call a special meeting on the
We don't need
19th.
January.
it's too close to.
If you have a pressing issue or something, call a special meeting on the 19th if you need.
Yeah, okay, we can do that.
Yes? Okay. At this time, need to, get a motion.
We'll move.
Motion made by Mr. Thomas,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed? Okay. We've been asked to move up the executive session item. If that's okay, can we move that up at this time? Any objections to moving that up? So we can take this out of sequence? No? Okay. At this time, I'd like to move to item 18, executive session permitted by Open Meetings Act, VPCA Government Code Section 551.001 at sequence under 551.071. 2, consultation with attorney to wit, A, compliance with elected office duties and responsibilities. At this time, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
We'll move.
Motion made by Mr. Thomas. There's a second by Mr. Keplinger. All those in favor? Motion to go into,
Before you do that,
Oh,
the item's gotta be removed from the table because it was tabled the last meeting. So you have the, right before that, the actual item.
okay.
You gotta vote to
Move to remove from the table.
and not to
Item,
consider it now.
before we can do anything, we need to, advance to item 17, consider and remove from the table the following table item, board meeting of February 12, 2014, executive session permitted by Open Meetings Act, VTCA Government Code 551001 at under sequence, section 551, consultation with attorney, to wit, a compliance with elected office duties and responsibilities. This time, can I get a motion? Motion made by Mr. Vella. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Keplinger. All those in favor? Okay, now, to move into executive session, item 18, executive session permitted. We need to obviously take another motion, right? To go into executive session?
So moved.
Executive session permitted by Open Meetings Act, VTCA Government Code 551001, at sequence under section 551.071, consultation with attorney, to wit, compliance with elected office duties and responsibilities. At this time, can we have a motion to go into executive session at 6:12 p.m.? Motion made by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Vella. All those in favor? There are any opposed? None. At this time, we are in executive session. Can you please ask everyone to step out the room while we have an executive session discussion at this time? Focus on item 8 and continue with the balance of our agenda. Consider and approve agreement for professional services with Carrillo Engineers for Port Isabel Water Reclamation Facility.
Board members, I was forwarded this agreement with Coelho, and after several phone calls, I was able to get together with Christine Powers, who is counsel for what I was referred to by Mr. Allen. I didn't see on that one. And we did talk. We eventually were able to connect, and the result of that agreement you have, or a copy of the agreement you have before you, is what resulted from our discussions. We were able to work out the issues that I had with the initial draft of the agreement. So what you have before is, as far as council is concerned, is subject to the court, to the board's approval. It's okay with me. There should be a 4-page contract in your hand.
So everyone had a chance to look at it. Everyone have a current copy. Papers for papers.
What I never did get is I got the actual contract, but I did not get any exhibits in terms of what compensation and all those things. That I was not privy to.
Question to the chair.
Yes.
What's in here that isn't in the presentation?
What's in there
What's
that's not?
in here that isn't in our regular packet presentation?
A revised.
On this contract.
Yeah, it's, there's the summary's on there. The very first page is your summary.
Yeah, there's
Okay, that's the only difference? Okay, everything else is the same.
Christie took care of all the revisions
Yes.
that you requested.
And I reviewed them. It's what we agreed to.
Move to approve, Sean. Got a motion for approval by Mr. Garcia.
Approve the contract?
That is correct.
Well, yeah, Corolla, has prepared a presentation, if you'd like to, share information about the project, or we can just proceed with approval on the agreement. Even though we don't have to report out for a presentation.
It's a lot of money. No, I can put it. It's on here just for discuss, approve.
I'd like to, is there a motion on the floor?
Is there
I think
approved?
it would behoove the board to listen to the presentation and also have the.
I'd like to
that way
amend the
it allows
motion
the
and
town
move this
listen
to a
what's
special
going on.
meeting.
All right, we can go along with the presentation, and then I'll hold my motion until after the presentation, then after that, if I need to remove it, I'll remove it.
Okay. Proceed.
Let me start this afternoon, or good evening, actually. I'm Henry Michelle, and I'm the project manager with Gold Engineers, and have Leon Allen, who's the design manager. And the thing that we're going to talk about today is the overall project scope and the objectives. And then we'll talk about the engineering scope of services. And there's 3 tasks that we're going to look out for today. The facility condition assessment, which is we call task 100, the permitting compliance issues, and then finally task 300, which is the facility master planning. And then finally we're going to talk about the task order that you have in hand, which is the schedule and the fee. So let's talk about the overall project scope and the objectives. So the water master has curtailed the amount of water that Laguna Madre gets. So you only need about 1 million gallons per day in the peak season. And in order to do that, we're looking at your wastewater plant, the Port Isabel wastewater plant, looking at getting the reduced water from there, and then getting it through an advanced treatment process, and then piping it to reservoir number 3, and then mixing that effluent with the water that's coming from the Rio Grande, and then basically putting it through your water treatment plants. That's the big picture of the project. So the engineering scope of services is for that project. The first thing we talked about is the facility condition assessment, and Leon is going to talk about these in detail. Permitting compliance issues, facility master planning, basis of design report, and then the design and preparation of bid documents, and then finally the services during construction. This is the big picture. Yes, sir.
I'd be excused, board, I need to go somewhere, and if there's any issues, Mr. Ortiz is gonna note take and whatever, and you just direct me what you wanna do with those issues. And I'll be more than glad to get.
Thank you very much.
Powers or anybody else representing Coretta. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So this is the big picture on the scope. However, what we are going to talk about today is this first 3 task items. That's what's going to be addressed today.
Okay, as we mentioned, there are 3 main things that we're going to be looking at as part of this scope of work. The first one we've got there is the facility condition assessment. This is where we go and look at your existing facilities, see what kind of condition they're in, determine what the useful life is, what we need to do to keep them operating in the short term until you have the project that we're talking about to provide the reuse water. So we're looking at all of those kinds of things as part of this early on. A couple of things I want to talk about here. For instance, your blowers that you have there, you have 3 Hoffman multi-stage centrifugal blowers. They put out about 2,000 CFM. Those blowers were part of the original plant. They have been there some 40 to 50 years. They have been rebuilt several times. So I'd honestly say you got your money's worth out of those pieces of equipment, but they are really at the end of their life. They're very inefficient power-wise, and they require a lot of maintenance to keep them going. So part of our analysis is we will go in and look at what to do with those, whether to replace them immediately or to hold off until the project is being built. But we did a quick desktop study just based on textbook numbers of the efficiency that you would expect when that blower was brand new. There are new types of blowers on the market today. They're called high-speed turbo blowers. You can take one of these turbo blowers and they'll replace 2 of your Hoffman centrifugal blowers right there. They cost about $200,000 for those blowers. And a quick analysis on the efficiency that you could achieve from your power consumption, it would take you about 7 to 8 years just in power savings to pay for one of those units. That's to say nothing about the maintenance and cost that you're having to put out for those. So quickly looking at it, that looks like that's a very viable option, but like I say, part of the work is we'll go into more detail about doing that, and if it proves out to be efficient, part of the work that is in this scope is we will provide you with a sizing and a technical spec that you can then go out and procure the blowers to replace them. So not only are we going to study, but we will give you a spec that you can actually take to bid and get those replaced. Talking with your plant staff, there seems to be a lot of hydraulic issues within the plant. So one of the things we will do as part of our assessment is we will prepare a computer hydraulic model of the plant to identify where there are bottlenecks. What you're looking at here, you can kind of see in the shadows, there's a couple of, you can see the waterfall there. Those are the discharges from the airlift pumps which are returning the activated sludge which settles in the clarifier back into the aeration basins. What we're being told is that the one on the right, which draws from the north clarifier, it has problems in that the flow is not consistent with the solids. It kind of spits and sputters in there. There is some hydraulic problem in there that's causing problems with that flow being continuous as it should be. Also, when they crank up the air to the airlift pump, meaning it's pumping more water, it actually draws down the water level in the clarifier. So that's telling us there's some kind of hydraulic problem in being able to get the water back into the clarifiers. It should never pull the clarifiers down because it's just being recycled. So there's some either issues of bottleneck restraining how it's coming back, or it's not being split evenly. Those are the kinds of things that we will determine as part of our assessment. In addition to that, what you're looking at right here are called the motor control centers. This is the electrical system that feeds the entire plant. Right behind these are the blowers, and the blowers put off a lot of heat. So in the summertime, this room gets very hot, and these motor control centers, it shuts down. So when it shuts down the major part of your plant. And so it's important that you keep that under control. What we will look at as part of our assessment is going in there is looking at how do we do that. A couple of ways: just ventilate the room, or should we put in a partition, separate the blowers from the electrical, and then be able to control the temperature in those rooms according to what they need to be. Obviously, the blowers don't need to be as cool as you'd like to keep the electrical. So that's part of the assessment that we will be looking at. The second task that we're looking at are permitting compliance issues. What we're looking at here is whatever we do, we have to keep you in compliance meeting your discharge permits. So one of the things that we're looking at, what you're looking at here is a map of the plants kind of right there towards the top. The purple line that's running south is your existing outfall line. It actually extends a little further south than what is shown there. And so the discharge from the plant right now is into the marsh area. That's on private property. You have an easement and an agreement with the property people on being able to do that. There are some legal and also some financial items tied into that agreement if you try to reuse the water. So one of the things that we're looking at is to divert that water away from their property and take it over to the intercoastal channel, and then you can dissolve that agreement with them, take away the legal and the financial obligations that are there, and help out where we discharge. Another issue that we want to consider in looking at relocating that line is, in order to do the advanced treatment, we're probably looking at some reverse osmosis membranes. What they do is they concentrate the total dissolved solids, and then you have a discharge of a brine solution. That brine solution is probably not going to be allowed or permitted to be discharged onto the surface in your current location. And so what we're proposing is to discuss with TCEQ about going over to the intercoastal channel and putting it into the salt water over there. So as part of this work that we're looking at on the permitting is we will be holding discussions with the agency about the ramifications for that and seeing if that will be acceptable. Until we actually put forth a proposal for them, they're not going to agree, but at least we want to feel their pulse and see if that's a viable option, which we think it is. Okay, the last thing that we're looking at as part of this scope of work is the master plan. This is where we take all of the information that we've gathered from the assessment, from the permitting issues, and put it together and formulate a plan of what you need to be able to produce this reclaimed water for potable use. And so what we will do here is we will have then the cost for you, what it's going to cost to do that. We will look at an implementation schedule, looking at the financing that you have to do it, as well as how do you keep the facilities online while you take care of all of these construction issues. What you're looking at here are some things that are going to be needed for that facility. In order to get it permitted, we have to look at how we are protecting public health. And the way TCEQ looks at it right now is because this is such a new process, they have not come out with definitive things, design criteria that says this is what you have to do. They look at it on a case-to-case basis. And their primary, if you will, thing that they judge on is your pathogen log reduction credits. And when I talk about a log reduction, one log reduction means that they have reduced the concentration or the organisms by 10. 2 log reduction is by 100, 3 is by 1,000, 6 is by 1,000,000. And what you see here when across from the goals, the log removal credits that TCEQ is going to be at least looking for here is 9 log removals for virus, 6 for crypto, 6 for giardia. And that's the very minimum. But because it's on a case-by-case basis, then they go up from there. And what they're looking for is barriers so that you're protecting health, and then also they want to look at unregulated contaminants, and that you are also looking at them. Even though they're unregulated, they want to feel that you are doing that. So what we've shown here is in the first row that goes across there, we're showing in the vertical, those represent microfiltration membranes, similar to what you have in Plant 2. And then follow those microfiltration, then we go into RO units, and then it's followed by UV. And you can see there, the lines have kind of shifted, but with that process you get a 688 on the log reductions. And then in your instance, it's going back into Reservoir 3, which then goes into your water treatment plant. The bottom line that you're looking at kind of represents water plant number 1, more of a conventional water treatment, where you've got flocculation, sedimentation, followed by filtration, followed by chlorine contact in your clear well. And that adds a 433. Then you add all of those up, and you can see we're in the range of 10, 11, 11 on the pathogen log reductions. So that kind of a scenario then would meet the minimum. But this is the crux of the whole project. This is the reason you have selected Carollo, is because of our expertise, not only Texas expertise in this, but also national expertise. And so that's what we bring to you, is national experts who are dealing with this many times and being able to bring to you the ability to negotiate with TCEQ on getting you favorable discharge log removals. Because the higher they make those log removals, the higher your cost is for this particular project. And so we're dealing with them on Big Springs. We have been contracted by the Texas Water Development Board. TCEQ is if you will, a reviewer in that. Our job is to look at that particular project and come up with protocols for testing to make sure that all of those barriers are being met and that the log reduction credits are accurate for that. So we're dealing with them on a daily basis. We know them. We feel we're in a good position to be able to negotiate for you in getting reasonable credit removals for your particular facility. Now, what you're looking at here is a photograph of your Port Isabel plant. North is straight up. What you're looking at in the middle there with what look like lines, channels, those are the aeration basins. The two on the outside are aeration basins for the wastewater coming in. The two in the middle are digesters treating the solids. The kind of the reddish color you see to the right there, that's the roof of the Bloor MCC building. And the two circles that you see over on the left, those are the secondary clarifiers. So what we're looking at is that TCEQ does not give you any pathogen reduction credits for the wastewater treatment plant. However, if they don't feel that the plant is functioning well and has a consistent product coming out, they want to raise those credits. So what we're looking at here is to go into the plant and make some modifications. First thing we'd look at is putting in some headworks. Here we have screens that remove rags and those kinds of things, followed by a grit removal system to remove sand and rocks and those kind of things. Purpose of this facility is to protect all of the downstream equipment. Coming in from that, we would look at changing the aeration basins you have, eliminate those digesters and make them aeration basins so that you can have more aeration time to get more reliable performance out of those. As I mentioned, one of the problems you're having is taking the return solids out of the clarifier, getting it back into the aeration basins. We propose to get rid of the airlift pumps, give you centrifugal pumps with VFDs so that the operators have much more control over the process and how the solids are returned back into the plant. What we're looking at then, because we've taken away your digesters, we will give you some digester structures out there to aerate the solids and meet the 503 regs. Then following that, we would put in probably a belt press to dewater those facilities so they could be dewatered and hauled off. And then we come down to the real important part of the whole project that we're looking at, and that's the advanced secondary process. We're looking to put in a EQ basin as part of that you have a diurnal pattern. Certain times of the day, like in the morning, you have more wastewater coming, goes down in the day, comes back up periodically during the day. So what we're looking at is take those peaks out, put them in an equalization basin, so then you have a more even flow into the advanced treatment processes. That allows us to get your maximum flow, but keep it as small as we can as far as cost on the units. Then in addition to that, we would put in an intermediate tank, which would actually be piped in between the MF membranes and the RO membranes. But these are key part that we need to be able to take care of so that you can get the best possible log reduction credits requirements that we can, because obviously it drives up the cost.
So we talk about the task order that you have in hand right now. We're basically looking yeah, exactly. So we're looking at the first task order will take 3 months, which is basically looking at the conditional assessment, and then task 200, the permitting compliance issues, take 2 months, and then task 300 would take 5 months. So we're looking at a total of 8 months to do those 3 tasks, and the budget for that would be $284,948. And we're done. Any questions?
Where would this money be coming from?
It's we find from Series 12, 2012 on the water line.
Come on, you know me. What'd you say?
The Series 2012 fund, the water use money that we have allocated, that would basically be funding this task order.
Bond money.
Is there enough to cover this?
Yes.
Yes, sir. This is only the engineering part. The rest is going through to the construction and.
No, this is not the design.
Before we,
This
this
284 doesn't
this
include
doesn't even
design.
include any design.
No, it's just for the master, all the way up to the master plan. There's 3 more phases, if I'm not mistaken, that are, after this one.
This is gonna give us the master plan is gonna give us the roadmap on what we need to do. It will have all the costs for you guys to look at where we're going. We'll be sitting with staff to come with the best possible options, and then we'll put this together in a report, and we'll come and give you a presentation. So before we go full speed in terms of design and put together, you know, we will show you what this whole project will take and what the process that is going to be utilized in this project.
Let me ask you something. Could we wait and table this and wait until you give us a complete presentation? Look at the blowers you're talking about, look at their mechanical designs or mechanical diagrams, things like that, you know? Or do we have to approve it today?
Yeah, I think it's part of the whole tasks that he.
At the moment, I haven't.
That he presented.
But that, you know, the price and.
I'll make
I
a
would-
motion on order at this time.
Can move to take a motion, it's open.
I would just like to hold off and think about it for a little bit
I'd
more.
like to have a special meeting with us guys, these guys, sit down and go through this whole thing, because we're talking about $250,000 chump change, but then, we're only gonna have 6 meetings, 4 progress meetings, and 1 conference call. Well, heck, I don't know about these guys, but as dumb as I am, I might have to call you about every 3 weeks to find out what's going on. Through Charlesport, of course.
Of course.
Of course. Well, how much do you get for an extra meeting?
Well,
Right over here.
Can I say
Yes.
something here? What you're looking at are formal meetings. Those are meetings where we keep the minutes and all that. There's going to be a lot of communication between our staff and your staff, and we're going to be visiting down here. We're going to have people on site going through the plant, looking at the pieces of equipment, talking to your staff. There's going to be a lot of dialogue that's going on back and forth with all of us. What you're looking at there is I've only defined, if you will, the formal meetings where we have minutes and those kinds of things that are kept as part of that. So there will be lots of dialogue. There are 2 parts of those. There are 2 formal presentations coming back to you. After task 100 and 200 are done, we will come make a presentation to you. When task 300 is done, we'll come back to the board and make another presentation. So like I say, those are the formal kinds of things that we have in the contract.
There's going to be a lot of work done in the office, and there's going to be a lot of meetings with TCQ. That's all included in that.
As I recall, I think, based on you know, how the numbers came in, you know, for this engineering work, I think then we were gonna defer it back to staff for them to look at it and see if it was comparable to, you know, what.
We did
What's the
have a
market?
meeting and looked at all the information that they provided us. Thought you all had a copy of it, the scheduling.
The fee schedule's in their attachment. I don't know if we're all looking at this.
Yeah.
Right.
I know you all should have had a copy of that scheduling fee schedule. And then it
Oh,
says-
but what I was saying was, I think I remember that we wanna see, you know, what the budget came in, or what you all were gonna charge us for the engineering services, and then we're gonna ask staff to do some research and see and tell us if this, whatever it is that they're charging, is comparable to what, you know, the market
Yeah.
calls for. You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we remember.
The general, you know, thing to have on that one is we kind of know a ballpark construction cost of what it'll take to get events, water treatment, and, you know, go ahead and implement the indirect or direct local reuse project. And so thinking in terms of that construction cost ballpark that we're talking about, this preliminary phase of engineering would be consistent with a fee for a project of that magnitude. So, I mean, we know that this is in a preliminary phase, and we don't have enough known issues to really, request a budget for design phase. I mean, that's why we want to kind of get through the master plan, and then at that point, we'd be able to know what our design budget needs to be. And that's why we're coming in with two separate authorizations or requests, at this point.
Well, my question is, just jumping across it, I would like to have a workshop or something, at least have a workshop with you to make me or the rest of the board understand why is this done. I know why now, but make everybody understand why we did this to be done as quick as we're doing it, right now. For me,
Well, what's telling it is our drought conditions and the fact that we're limited to 5,550 feet of 8 feet of water.
we're not complying in the sewer plans and things like that. That's what we want to tell them.
My concern on this is we haven't prioritized some other projects that also need to be addressed. We have another engineering company that did an assessment on our other wastewater plants. We don't have any cost on that. The last meeting, you guys mentioned that we have a couple of lift stations that are in dire need of repair. Where are we going to get all this money? There's no prioritization by staff yet on what our priorities are. So I would like to see all these projects put together and prioritized by you guys before I vote for this.
Okay, if I remember correctly, we mentioned on the lift stations that it was coming off the surcharges,
WFPC and SSPC money.
Right.
We just approved it in the general.
It doesn't have to do with the bonds money, separate, and that also would be taking care of the other clarifiers that we have on the island, besides this one here. That's where it's coming from that fund. What else?
Well, we haven't seen any cost on those redoing those other clarifiers at Isla Blanca and Andy Bowie.
Yeah.
Well, I understand we got issues out there. What's going on out there? I haven't been told. We haven't been told that yet.
Well, that assessment was discussed when Bruce Nichols gave that presentation a year or two ago, where we know our wastewater treatment lien is on the range of $4 million. And this project essentially takes care of a portion of that work. But we can bring it all together and formalize capital improvement plan, just so you can see how those priorities are at. I mean, the issue with proceeding with the wastewater treatment project is the fact that we don't have allocated funding for that use. Our allocated funding right now that's in the bank is water reuse, and this is basically meeting our limited supply from the river, and then of course we're taking care of some wastewater upgrades.
Well,
to that point.
our covenants and our bond issue from 2011 or 2010, we did it so forth where we could change our projects anytime we want. We can use that money for anything we want. And that's the way it was put to the voters, that's the way it was put in the bonds. So I think we need to sit down and have a workshop first, or something, a special meeting or something to discuss. I want to see it all laid out. Knowing that we have these other projects before I do anything on approving this yet. Okay. And it's some timetables. We need to protect our own facility, our current facilities first before we go out and do something else. I want to see what that's going to cost and where we're going to get that money.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
This time we have a consider and approve agreement for professional services with Carrillo for Port Isabel Water Reclamation Facility. So we need to decide what we're going to do, what action we're taking.
On the table?
On the table. I mean, for discussion and action. I mean.
Well, we'll move the table until we have
We have a
Workshop, so we can better know what we're talking about.
And I'm available this weekend. I'm available.
I'll second.
I'm
72-hour posting.
For a workshop?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm not gonna be here for the next 2 weekends. I'll be out of town. I'll be here spring break.
Yeah.
I won't.
Or you gonna be on the island or at Coca-Cola
I'll be
Beach?
in Las Vegas.
Oh, this right.
Well, what's today? Today's the 26th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanna do something next Wednesday night?
It actually is the same, March is the same as this one.
What do you wanna do it on the?
Well, we can do
Well, we
it
did-
How about next Wednesday night?
the
The
Saturday
19th?
before the 26th.
Good? Wanna see why not?
I personally won't be here.
Wait a minute.
What was that again?
You can't
I
make it.
personally won't be here March fifth.
In February,
It's the same 28-day layout.
next February,
6? When
Ta-da.
are you gonna be back, Scott?
like the 5th.
I have a prior engagement committed.
When would you be back, Scott?
Saturday is the 8th is fine.
Rudy will be gone.
I'm out of town.
Oh, we leave on the 9th, that doesn't work either.
22nd?
We're a fine bunch.
19th?
Yeah, the Saturday before, no?
Or the 19th?
Meeting? The Saturday before the 26th meeting?
Where's he going?
Rudy's not gonna be here.
Oh,
The
he's not over
22nd.
here?
No, the 22nd, or the 19th.
Oh, this one?
No, the 19th.
Rudy said the next 2 weeks already?
Yeah, but
The
but I'll
next
be here the
two?
19th, which is a
Yeah.
Wednesday before the regular meeting. so-
Scott won't be here the 19th, is that what you said?
No, I'll be here.
Okay.
19th, yeah, he won't be here
Just the 5th.
end of it.
19th?
19th, okay, we'll do that.
Six
It's
o'clock?
over a month away, Daisy, you better call me and remind me, you know what I'm like at my age.
We'll, post that, the agenda for that workshop. When we get there.
So at this time, a motion has been made, to table by Mr. Garcia. There was a second by Mr. Keplinger. All those in favor?
Aye.
They are, none opposed, motion carries, thank you. Regretfully, gentlemen, item has been tabled. Moving to item number 9, consider and approve resolution number 102-02-14, adopting the budget amendment for fiscal year 2013 through 2014 of the Laguna Madre Water District.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is a resolution on the budget amendment that was proposed to the board at the last meeting, that was tentatively approved. And we are requesting to modify resolution 102-02-14 with the corresponding budget amendment 14-02-12 for the year ending September 30th. This request is made in order to carry forward fund balance. The carry forward would allow administration to do needed upgrades, purchase vehicles and equipment the original budget was unable to provide. We will continue to do due diligence and oversee the budget as a whole to maintain control of expenditures. The resolution being submitted, resolution number 102-02-14, adopting budget amendment number 14-02-12 for fiscal year 2013-2014 of the Laguna Madre Water District. Whereas the district has an approved annual budget by the Board of Directors of the district to provide for the operations of the district and to include funds to service the district's outstanding debt. And whereas the general manager is requesting a budget increase by carrying forward funds for an accumulated fund balance in the general fund, whereas the carry forward funds could cause deficit when reported expenditures exceed anticipated revenues, and therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Laguna Madre Water District, that budget amendment 02-14-2014 for the Laguna Madre Water District for the fiscal year beginning 1st October 2013 and ending 30th September 2014 is being adopted with a resolution and is attached and incorporated herein as part of this resolution. The resolution is, follows that. This was tentatively approved by the board at the last meeting.
Yes.
Correct.
To approve, sure.
Motion made by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Vella. All those in favor? Are there any opposed?
I'm opposed.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas?
Opposed.
For the record, we have Mr. Keplinger and Mr. Thomas for opposing votes. I guess I'm the deciding vote. Is that how it works? I've never had to do this before. I motion to vote in favor of, so motion carries at this time. Moving to item 10. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just as a note, at the last meeting, we also requested that I contact the financial advisors, which I have. Unfortunately, I did send them an email and explaining to them what we're trying to do, and to see what their thoughts were as far as, if we did have a deficit as far as this year was concerned in the fund balance. I have tentatively talked with, Noe Hinojosa, the financial advisor. We do have a scheduled meeting again for Friday, but, tentatively, based on what I told him, he said that he didn't see a problem, but he did want some more information. He was asking me about the total budget for this year and what we were looking at as far as overspending or carrying forward from the fund balance. He felt that since we still had in the fund balance over 25% of the total current budget, he didn't see a problem as far as that was concerned. But
Possibly you can get something in writing on that.
he
Stating the condition.
mentioned that he would once we conversed on Friday.
Okay.
He will send me something.
Too late now.
Yeah, but still need a statement. I know the above for the discussion, but. Okay, moving on to item number 10. Consider and approve resolution number 103-02-14, authorizing employee supplemental insurance through section 125, premium only plan for year ending January 31st, 2015.
Yes, sir, the attached resolution is being submitted for ratification by the board, acknowledging that employees are allowed to participate in section 125 cafeteria premium plan. This plan allows employees to tax shelter some of their money by participating in one or more of the plans being offered, such as dependent health care, dependent dental, cancer policy, or dependent vision. There are other plans that are available for the employees. The resolution number 103-02-14, a resolution authorizing employee supplemental insurance through section 125 premiums only plan for year ending January 31st, 2015. The state of Texas, County of Cameron, Laguna Madre Water District, whereas the Laguna Madre Water District, the employer hereby certifies that this resolution was duly adopted by the Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors in February 2014, and that such resolution has not been modified or rescinded as of the date hereof. Be it resolved that the form of amended section 125 cafeteria plan effective February 1st, 2014, presented to this meeting is hereby approved and adopted, and that the Director of Finance of the employer are hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver to the administrator of the plan one or more counterparts of the plan. Be it resolved that the administrator shall be instructed to take such actions that are deemed necessary and proper in order to implement the amended plan and to set up adequate accounting and administrative procedures to provide benefits under the plan. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance of the employer shall act as soon as possible to notify the employees of the employer of the adoption of the amended plan by delivering to each employee a copy of the summary description of the plan in the form of the summary plan description presented to this meeting, which form is hereby approved. The undersigned further certifies that the true copies of the adoption agreement, plan document, and summary plan description approved. And it's attested, this was a resolution that was sent to us by the company presenting, having the plan by Texas Mutual Insurance. The employees have participated in this. We already have had some workshops on it, and they have signed into some of these plans that are available to them to tax shelter some of their funds.
Robert, this is on an individual basis, right?
That's correct.
That each individual can opt to in or not.
That's correct.
Okay, it's not a force.
At their expense.
At their
Yeah,
expense.
right.
That's correct.
But it would
It's a good
be
deal.
more inexpensive for them to buy it in the group, huh?
Cheaper to buy
Or
the
the
group.
same thing. Are they buying in the group, like say, instead of being an individual, it would be 20 or 30 of them, and it would be more, less expensive, huh? Or
Well,
how does it work?
There's different plans in there. Some of them that have dependents that need dependent health insurance, they're buying that, or some that buy dental insurance. It's a different plan, whatever the employee wants to buy into.
The one size don't fit all on this, Robert. So
The only thing that's beneficial is the cafeteria plan.
Yeah, well, all of these plans come under the cafeteria plan,
That's
it's tax sheltered.
That won't be, that won't be taxed on that.
Move to accept recommendation.
Motion made by Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Garcia. Are all those in favor?
They are, none opposed, thank you. Moving to item number 11, consider and approve resolution number 104-02-14 to close Laguna Monterey Water District bank accounts that have little or no activity. We have this.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, again, this resolution number 104-02-14, a resolution to close Laguna Madre Water District inactive bank account at International Bank of Commerce, whereas the Bank of Directors of Laguna Madre Water District acknowledges that Laguna Madre Water District has numerous bank accounts, and whereas some of these bank accounts have very little or no activity, and the staff has to create a transfer to and from these bank accounts to avoid said bank accounts from becoming dormant, and whereas some of the bank accounts would use general fund revenue to ensure that there is sufficient funds for the account's intended purpose, and therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Laguna Madre Water District authorize to close the following bank accounts with our bank depositor, International Bank of Commerce. The bank accounts to close would be sale of land, currently has $24,000, that would be deposited into the general fund. Annexation fee account has $32,817.19, that would be closed into the general fund. The water SDC has $65,089.65, that would be closed into the general fund. The water SDC account has $59,248.07, that would be closed into the general fund. And the asset replacement bank account, which would be closed also to the general fund, has $5. And be it further resolved that the water SDC and the sewer SDC accounts will remain open in the Water District General Ledger account. These accounts would be closed as far as the water SDC and SDC in the bank, but they would remain open as far as our general ledger is concerned. For reconciliation purposes, these accounts would be pooled in with the general fund so that we could ensure that the monies remain separate for those two accounts.
Motion made by Mr. Garcia for approval, second by Mr. Keplinger.
All those in favor? They are, none opposed, motion carries, thank you. Moving to item 12, consider and approve the financial reports as of the end of January 31st, 2014.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first page I put in there was a comparison of revenue 2012-2013 for the months of October, November, and December, and then a comparison in January for 2013 and 2014. And you'll notice there that the revenue for the both, as far as what is showing, we're short at this point by $196,000 as far as the comparing revenue this year to last year. Now, in October, we carried back $67,000 into September since we accrued that revenue for, it was at the year end of September 30th, so that was $67,000 that we normally would have recorded in October, and it was recorded in September. So if we don't include those $67,000, the shortage that's going to show in the books as far as the revenues between in those 4 months, comparing it from this year to last year, it's going to be $263,959. So it's obvious that water usage for this month have gone down. I attribute a lot of that to the rain that we've had, the cold weather that we've been having this last 2-3 months. So hopefully now with spring break coming around, the revenue will start coming back up. On the next page, you have the general fund revenue and expense report. You have the annual budget of $7,798,574. Excuse me. The budget, 4-month budget for 1/3 of the year is $2,599,525. What we collected in the current period, about $15,620. Year-to-date actual of $1,971,399, which shows revenue under our budget by $628,126. The total expenditures, again, current budget, $7,798,574, with a 4-month budget of $2,599,525. The current period, we spent $653,660. Year-to-date actual of $2,272,567. That will show the revenue under expenditures of $301,168. I would like to remind the board, though, that on number 7 in administration, there is a $224,000 showing as an expense. That's actually a transfer to the debt service to cover the payment on the bond revenue. So the actual expenditure over revenues at this point is $77,141. The following page shows the list of revenues where they're coming from. On page 3, you have the debt service fund financial summary, where we have year-to-date of $2,372,123 with total expenditures of $355,888. The revenue over expenditures of $2,016,235. On the following page, you have the list of revenues where we collected taxes as of the end of January. Year-to-date actual of $2,125,715 out of a $2,538,800 budget. So at this point, as of the end of January, we've collected 83.73%. Then on page 5, you have the capital project and financial summary. Revenue is $8,328. Expenses of $2,397,539, whereas expenditures over revenue of $2,389,211. Page 6 shows the actual revenue, most of it just on the interest earned from the money that we have at the bank. And then page 7 shows the revenue for Fund 11, the emergency fund, of $920, no expenditures. And page 8 is the revenue, which is primarily interest on the $2 million that we have in the revenue, in the emergency fund. That concludes my financial report for the month ending January 30th. Any questions?
Any questions, comments regarding the financial? There is an action item. Move to approve. Motion made by Mr. Keplinger. Second by Mr. Vella. Are all those in favor? None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving item 13, consider and approve the disbursements. Unless anyone has any questions about any disbursement in particular, ask for a motion for approval of all.
Question to the sheriff.
Yes?
Why'd we spend $528.90 fixing an outboard motor? What kind of outboard motor we got? Who went fishing?
That's the outboard motor that we have at the water plant for the potassium permanganate, treating the reservoir for algae.
How big is the motor?
It's a 9.9, not that big.
What's a new one cost?
About 2,000.
Just a question.
Okay.
Any other questions about the disbursements? This is an action item. Motion made by Mr. Vella for approval. Second by Mr. Garcia. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 14, General Manager's Report. Item A, RO desalination update.
Yes, we had a meeting today with Mark Ellison from the Governor's Office, and he wanted to meet with us and discuss some financial assistance that they can provide for us on desalination, and the actual cost that would be to the district, they would match 1-to-1 if the approval of the application was approved. What it is that they're interested in our proposition number 2 for the RO desalination, and they're interested in assisting us in that part. So that we met with them today, and it's very positive. They just wanna.
Who are they with again?
The Rick Perry's office, the governor's.
You wanna match
And
dollar for dollar?
who's the one that's gonna match the 1-to-1?
The state. They wanna assist
What
us.
department of the state?
What was it, Charles?
Well, I think it's gonna be applying for the Texas Emergency Technology Fund.
Right.
Yeah, and it's something that, the Mark Ellison, I think he's, in
He's in
the
charge.
governor's office in charge of, water management strategies.
Yeah.
And so he's just recently approached us out of the blue and has mentioned interest in participating.
By filling out an application, I mean, just submitting an application, or
Yeah,
going
yeah.
for further review,
It takes the plan of action that the district would have in place, you know, to get that plan, send it to them, and they'll review it with the application. And, you know, it's very positive, but we still need to put some more work into
That needs to
it.
be discussed at the next
We
meeting.
put it in there.
also.
We put it in there. Right.
Is there a
I just wanted to let you know that we did meet with them today, and just an update on that meeting, which was very positive, and we're hoping to keep communication on that one, and hopefully we'll move forward, and, you know, it's good information. But we'll put it in there on the next workshop, and we can discuss more on that one.
Well, in terms of a deadline, I believe they are going to present the committee on March 26th. So, is that correct?
Yeah,
And,
we have time.
Yeah,
We got
so-
that meeting on the 19th, so hopefully we
Now,
can.
is this application binding, or? You know, because we're getting close to the deadline, March 26th.
Yeah, but
And March 26th is not that far away. If we do submit an application, and
Joe,
My name is Joe IA. I'm with Black and Veatch. Black and Veatch, a consulting firm. Mr. Chairman, board members, Mark Ellison was once with the Texas Water Development Board and was active in on economic development program. He is now with the governor's office. He's been assigned to look at areas throughout the state of Texas in an effort to stimulate or identify areas where they could stimulate economic stability or growth through either water supply or sustainability projects. He's identified the coastline as an attractive area to focus his attention, including Corpus Christi, Galveston, and the Valley, as well as West Texas. He came today to listen to what Laguna Madre's interest is with respect to their desalination, and it appears, after visiting with him this afternoon before he left, that this was a possibility of, or this was of interest to him. He thought that what the Laguna Madre Water District was proposing and the area of the drought of the valley was attractive to him and to his department. He encouraged the staff to submit an application for consideration. The application is a fairly straightforward. It's a 5-page application that requires a lot of backup, but he would like to see the Water District submit an application by the deadline of March 26th. We can fill out that 5-page application, and it's kind of a placeholder. You can amend it and you can modify it, but he'd like to have in front of him all the projects in the state of Texas in front of him by that time, and then he can look at where he and his department can look at where is the best value of
the greatest impact to the communities and to the economic development of the regions. The application will be actually submitted through the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority, who has assumed the responsibility to oversee a regional plan. It's kind of like fostering a regional water supply sustainability plan, building off of the Region M water management plan that's under, it's being updated today, currently. That's all stuff we can talk later, your staff can talk about later.
What is the deadline again?
March 26th is when we are going to submit the application on behalf of on behalf of the Rio Grande Regional Water Authority.
Well,
And it will be,
our next regular our meeting in March is the 26th.
Right, but
But
we're
the
gonna have a
applications,
workshop.
they need to be in by 5 o'clock, right?
Are we,
we're fine, we're fine. We can submit something as a placeholder and then submit the application. If you need to sit down with your staff and go through it and make sure what we're submitting or what y'all are submitting is
Well, yeah,
consistent.
I just wanna make sure that because we meet at 6, and most applications, if they have a deadline, it's usually 5 o'clock, you know, the end of the workday, and if you don't meet the 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
then you're out.
I think if that's a concern, and we'll clarify with Mark's staff, is that we may be able to submit a letter of interest as a placeholder with an application forthcoming.
A reservation.
Yes, sir. We'll clarify that if you want to.
Yeah, please.
We can do that.
Certainly.
if we submit an application, are we financially bound by that application in any way?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, it's best to fill it out and get it in there.
Get
The
in
action
line.
comes much later.
Get in line.
Strictly just a place in line.
Yeah.
Just a value of interest is all it is.
And B, with him coming down here and visiting with staff,
That certainly is
it's
priority.
it's promising. He's like, I'm going to make an effort to come down here and visit with Carlos and his staff and see what he's doing. This is something that's interested us. I'd like to get an application in. And we said we'd follow up with that. We talked about maybe next week or sometime sit down with Carlos and his staff to start finding the information that needs to be in this 5-page application.
I think it's very important to fill out the application.
5 pages,
Well,
not
at
that
least-
big of an application. I mean, that's-
Yeah.
It's
Well,
unfortunately,
it does
that's
have
the easy
backup.
part. The back part is all the backup documentation, but it's not that.
Right, and then being that we completed the pilot study, that's a lot of the reference data, we'll have, the backup.
Project description, budgets, the cost, schedules, all that. You've already got that from what you did a couple of years ago. And a lot of that can just slide right in. So you're down the road a ways.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I wanted to report on that, RO. And, hoping that, Charles and I will be looking into the land purchase up at the Pinellas. For whatever reason, just get a cost estimate, see how much it's gonna, cost us, so we can present it to you guys and see what that'll be also.
Excellent.
Then, on, item B there, I sent a copy of the last rate study that we did in 2008 and was approved for 2009 and 2010. Did you get to see that one?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I know that I wasn't involved with that at that time because I was at the RO treatment in 2008 and 9. But I haven't found anything that there was only 2 approvals for 2009 and 2010 rate hikes and on that study. And if you can see that there was 2 more rates for May 2011 and May 2012.
Correct.
Well, never was approved for, I don't know what the reason was. And I've never seen that until now that I found this. And on this one, we can still discuss it more if y'all desire on that workshop. Or
It'll be a long workshop.
go into
I think that should go into April, if you want my opinion. I would put that on as April. And the work has already been outlined and the
Yes.
suggestions already been outlined,
Right.
just the timeline is not current.
Right.
Is my honest opinion of that. I mean,
Well, gentlemen, I don't see how we can justify a rate for a rate hike. I mean, it's something we'll talk about later, but we've had a surplus from anywhere from $50,000 to $1.1 million for the last 10 fiscal years. I don't see how we can justify a rate increase.
Yep, I know the chairman had requested information on that, that's why I brought it up, so. I mean, it's good information that was available already for us, and I had never seen it until Mr. Gomez found it. So, and I think Daisy might have looked for some information on it too. So that's what we have available, you know. And we can talk about this at another day. Okay. And the last thing I have here is C is if you recall that last November 2013 we decided to do away with the vehicles after hours for the managers and you know that were taking the vehicles home. So I compared the gasoline cost and we did drop quite a bit on it, and even the gallons compared to the cost. And it was a drastic drop. Just wanted to bring it up to y'all's attention that that was a good move, and hoping that we can keep doing that, you know. So, and the amounts, if y'all want to hear the amounts, it's in December we saved like $4,000 compared from 2012, 13. And this past January, 2014 and 13, like $5,600. So, just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention.
That was not including maintenance on those vehicles.
Maintenance, because we always.
We would have spent that money, they would take.
more miles, more maintenance.
Right.
Good job,
Also,
Chris.
that's like,
That's good.
and that's it on my part. Next
Next item.
would be the general manager's report.
Carl? Item 15?
Yes, the first item on the engineer's report is water right. And, this is real general. There's been a couple of years back, we were looking at the water rights market to see, who was available and willing to sell. And, a couple of people, have just given some follow-up, basically letting us know that they're interested, in selling some of the water rights. And so, in general, I think it's a discussion to consider and, maybe negotiate a good deal and start selling some water rights within our existing funds that we have right now.
Are they throwing any numbers at us?
No, I haven't approached the number yet. I just know how much we have in our water rights account, and the one account we're looking at after you convert it to municipal rights, it's about 78 acre feet would be this person after they convert. They're currently Class A water rights, and after you convert them to municipal, it'd be about 78 acre feet.
How many?
78.
78.
Yeah, and so that's something that should be in line with our available budget, so we could probably negotiate and work within our range.
Did you get a clue what they're going for?
Oh, the market right now is anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 per acre foot.
Per acre foot?
And I'm gonna try to make it go significantly below that. But, you know, we'll see what we can negotiate. Yeah, so that's basically where we're at in water rights. Just to get on, moving on to the next is basically our project schedule update, which, for the camp chart, we have it out at the beginning of the meeting. So, just to give an update where we're at with 2007 projects. The first one is, the Middle East, water reuse. Just to give you an update, we did install that second wind turbine. So our wind, the second transformer, so we get the full usage out of our 10 kW wind turbine that got installed out there at the Middle East. So that project is final and good to go. We released payment on, release retainage to mulch. There is one cost item that I'll bring up at the next meeting for some motor operated control valves, because those were taken out by change order, but being that they were custom valves that were ordered, basically they got delivered to the site and there's a payment pending on that, but I'll have to address that at the next meeting. But that's basically where we're at to be able to finish out our programming and have the programming to be able to serve either Christian Center or golf course, for installing those motor operated control valves. So, I guess moving on, water and wastewater line for Laguna Vista sanitary sewer renewal. I don't know if you've seen the Digiform, but they have been out there this week. So they've begun doing some of the gear replace pipes, where we don't have any obstruction. And so they'll be out there through March 10th, getting that portion of work done. And then as we address the gravity sewer point repairs, then we'll come back for second mobilization to line the remaining pipes that are currently obstructed. And so that's where we're sitting at with lining the gravity sewer there in Laguna Vista. Moving on to lift station 19, they've dropped the wet well in the ground. We're working on the backfill right now, and the contractor's working directly with the owners to extend their use of a temporary construction easement. So, I mean, right now, we'll get all the big excavation equipment out of there before spring break, and based on this, we're looking at a finish date for lift station 19, May 2nd, but, most of it's just gonna try to stay within our existing easement, like installing the valve vault and generators, yard piping, all that thing just will continue on. But at least we got that wet one in the ground, so helps water. Any questions? I guess moving on, no activity on the raw water line in high school, and water valve replacements is our continuous stuff that our operators doing. Coming over to Series 2012 bond project, for the Quasis pump station, we did get out of the ground, so we're completely backfilled on the installation of the cans and the piping. And so right now we're working on the slab. We do have a revised project schedule for completion. We're looking at on the pump station being done in July, where we're final with both new pumps and the new pump station. And it's looking good. We have of course our bigger pump in the existing can that just did summer, so we're doing okay. For the pipeline contract, we're about a week and a half away from finishing laying the pipe all the way to the pump station. And then we'll basically be testing, so we'll be finished with the pipeline section in March. So that's basically where we're at in terms of getting the job finished out. Just flipping over to water treatment plant 2, night filtration. Right now, we have, I guess on the building construction, of course we have some liquidated damages that I haven't put on the agenda, but we'll have to discuss probably at our next meeting in March. Their last painting work is the parking lot and doing the final painting on the floor. And so the parking lot should be done towards the end of the week. We'll have paving done. And painting the floor, we're going to have to get commissioning done first so they can have a space to work in. So we just basically put a hold on that aspect. For the most part, all the other commissioning items have been addressed. So it's just going to be a matter of negotiating contract time. There is one item on the building though that's going to be a change order, which is the doors for the electrical room. We're supposed to have panic bars on them. And the plans and specs basically have knobs which might give us an occupancy problem. So I haven't seen anything official from the architect yet, but that is something that's coming. So we'll have to see what that's going to be. That would be the last thing that's still going to be another item, close out the building basically.
Talking about a pair of doors, right?
A pair of doors, that's it. With back bar. And so, yes, that's basically what's going on in the building. Moving over to the MS process, all's been out there since February 3rd, commissioning. Commissioning schedule went on schedule. The membrane module is actually arrived here on Monday, so they're sitting here being housed in the warehouse. Inside the building as we're getting everything started up. Already completed air piping testing, getting everything communicated, working on all the instrumentation as we speak. For the next 2 weeks, we're gonna be just recirculating the water and getting everything, all the pressure testing done, all the startup. And by the last week of March, we'll be having a full week of training for our operators and be in production at the end of the month. So that's where we're at with microfiltration. Closing up from that. And then for the emergency power addition, which is getting the generator to back it up. Right now, we're looking at the generator being shipped down from Oklahoma on February 28th. So that's getting all the way down to item 240. That's where I'm at right now, on page 5.
What'd that cost us? What's the final dollar on the extras on the emergency power generator?
Oh, whatever we have in our contract, I forgot, whatever that change order was. I don't have the number in front of me, but it's already included in those approved contract amounts. It was on the range.
addition.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, I forgot what we did, but it was pretty pricey. I mean, I don't know the number off the top of my head, I'd have to look it up.
Almost 3, wasn't it?
Probably more than that, maybe 600, somewhere in that range. For the 1,000 kilowatt generator, the automatic transfer switches, and get a new main switchboard.
Only half a million, what I have stuck in my head.
Right.
I can't remember.
And it's kind of good, because right now we're trying to do the harmonic analysis, and one of the issues that they're having is our old generator would have caused a lot of voltage drops and serious problems, but since the new generator's coming, it's kind of closing the issue. So.
What?
Well,
Repeat that.
Well, because right now we're trying to do the harmonic analysis, and one of the concerns is our existing generator being too small to power the microfiltration plant, and so we're replacing it. So we'll take care of that one. But that's basically, where we're at with the water plant. And, I had thrown the schedule in here for the point of sale reading, which is on item 295, on page 6. And that's just, if we stay on track with Corolla, that's how the schedule's mapped out right now. So that's what the engineer's report, if there's any questions.
Anything else? Robert?
The only thing I wanted to inform the board was on the fixed asset conversion. RCI, as I had mentioned earlier, in the previous board meeting, RCI came in and did the inventory. We did get the information yesterday from them, so we're going to be, we've talked to Encode, and we're looking at updating all our fixed assets in with Encode, and start using the fixed asset module that we have with them.
Any other closing comments? Staff, board, anything?
I'd like to ask him about what's going on with when you call over here, you dial a number, then it goes to another place and things like that.
That's after the meeting discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Closing comments? Anyone else? Okay. Meeting adjourned at 7:52 p.m. Thank you, everyone.